Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the electrical contractor for Clark's Electrical on behalf of Centric Close, Camden, and I'll be showing you around your new apartment electrical wise.
My name's Dan, I'm the plumbing contractor. I work for a company called Watkins and we carried out the mechanical and plumbing fit out, and I'll be showing you the plumbing. This is called a heat interface unit, or short HIU. It looks like a boiler, but it is not. What it does is it provides you heating and hot water, just like a boiler. But the boilers on this scheme are based in the plant room further down, and this serves as a hydraulic brake between the communal circuit and the secondary circuit within the dwelling. So this does all of your radiators and your hot water within this dwelling. At the top of the HIU there are valves. These should never be touched, only in emergencies, where if say something was leaking, then you would turn the valves off quarter of a turn at the top. So regarding your energy system, your heat meter system, this here is your heat meter. So the heat meter reads the usage of your heating and hot water. This should never be touched, although it will give you a display of your kilowatt hours, which is your usage. This is linked to your display. The display shows basically the amount of credit you have at that time. In terms of topping up, please refer to your residence manual, where there is a video and a booklet. And that will give you details on how to top up. The display is linked to this box here, which is the wireless box. That sends the signal and all your data usage up to the billing company. This box here and all of this other equipment are powered from these isolators. These should never be turned off. If they are turned off, you will lose all heating and hot water. This is your radiator, and on the radiator you have a thermostatic radiator valve, or TRV. The thermostatic radiator valve has 5 different settings, this is number 5, which is the maximum flow, which is the maximum heat. It gradually goes down, 4, 3, 2 and 1. The setting, which is a white circle, this means that the radiator valve is off. So if you wanted a room, for instance, you wasn't using, you would turn your radiator off by doing this, and when you want to turn it back on, turn it anti-clockwise, back up to number 5, 4 or 3, depending on your heat usage, and that turns it back on. On the other side of the radiator you have a lock shield valve. This lock shield valve is carefully balanced, so it should never be touched by the occupier. This item here is your heating programmer. To operate your heating programmer, you would, to set the programmer, press the programmer button once. This will give you your time display, and below you'll see 1, 2, 3 and 4. What this basically means is, number 1 is when you want your heating to come on, number 2 is then when you want your heating to go off, number 3 is when you want your heating to come back on again, and number 4 is when you want your heating to go off again. To change the time of when you want your heating to first come on in the morning, say 7 o'clock, you use the buttons here to change your time. 7 o'clock, press OK, and then it will say what temperature would you like your heating to come on at. 20 degrees is ample, press OK, OK again, goes to number 2. So this is when you want your heating to turn off. So say for instance you go to work at 8:30 in the morning, you want your heating to go off at 8:30 when you leave, press OK, temperature again, 20 degrees, and then number 3, this is when you want your heating to come. Say you get home from work at 3:30, you change it to, say 3 o'clock, you want your heating to come back on, OK, 20 degrees again, and then when you want it to go off at night, so say 10:30, press OK, back up to 20 degrees, OK again, and then press auto. And then your programmer is set to come on and off around your schedule. To operate the manual setting, press manual there. This will bring the flame on, which means that heat's coming on, and then you can adjust your temperature to suit what temperature you would like. As soon as the temperature hits the required one, it will constantly stay at the same temperature. So here we have it at 26 degrees. And then it flashes back. It's currently 22.5 degrees in here. This is your cold water isolation valve, this blue one here. To operate it and turn your water off, that's your hot and your cold water, quarter of a turn down, so the lever is against the flow of the pipe. Upwards like that, where the lever is inflow of the pipe is on. Basically, this should never be turned off unless instances where there is a leak and you need to turn your cold water off and your hot water, or say if you're going on holiday, it would be prudent to turn it off whilst you're on holiday. This is linked to your cold water meter. So this is your water meter, and it's located obviously in here. Nobody from Thames Water or any other billing company will need to come into the premises. It has a wireless module built in, so they can read your meter from outside, never have to enter your property. On the screen here, it shows you your water meter usage. You won't really need to use it because you'll be billed automatically. Underneath your kitchen sink, you'll find two isolation valves. This is a hot isolation valve, this is a cold isolation valve. These should never be touched unless by a competent person. Your washing machine valve is clearly labelled for when you connect your washing machine. The washing machine valve has its own isolation valve, which is here in blue. Underneath there is a cap which currently caps the isolation valve. This will need to be removed when you connect the washing machine hose. The washing machine waste hose will be connected to one of these two spigots. You would remove the cap, check the insert inside here to make sure that there isn't another insert. Connect the washing machine hose onto the spigot and then Jubilee clip. Like I say, any connection onto these services for a washing machine should be done by a competent person. Inside this white panel is the access to the drainage from the flats above. This door should never be opened, and the door that goes into the drainage inside, this should never be opened as well. This should only ever be touched by a drainage contractor.
I'm here today to show you through a few of the electrical components in your new property, starting with the fuse board and the cupboard in your flat. This is your electrical meter. There's a few identification buttons on here. Your energy supplier will run through how to read your meter. Next, going forward, is your main isolator. So this will isolate your meter and also the power coming into your property. And this is purely for the electrical installer. So if any maintenance works needs to be done on your fuse board or your meters, this is the isolation point. This is your main fuse board or distribution board, as we call it in the trade. We have a date of inspection, which is when it was last inspected, and you have your recommended date of inspection, which is in 10 years' time. When I open your consumer unit, you'll find here now we have a list of all of the components that are powered from your property, or what amperage of breaker it is. If there's any fault in any of your circuits, usually your breaker will flick off. To reset your circuits, you flick back up. Same with what we call an RCD. This will isolate all one side of your fuse board. For instance, if I push that, the flick down RCD breaks. To reset, you fire the button back up until you hear a click, which will then re-energise all your circuits. If there is any other faults and you need to do any works or maintenance works on your fuse board, this is your main power isolator. To put that into the off position, you just flick down, and obviously to reset again, you flick back up. If you do notice any of your appliances or sockets, lights for instance, are not working, your first port of call is to check your fuse board, distribution boards, make sure that all of your breakers or switches are in the on position. Same as your lights or any other appliances from the kitchen, lounge, please check your fuse board first. Situated in your service cupboard, we have your BT OpenReach fibre router. Again, this will need to be set up via BT to activate your contract. Just below, we have an alarm spur for future use. Adjacent to that, we have a BT telephone point that requires a link from your hub to the point to activate other room points. This is your media area for your new apartment. If you are looking to hang your TVs on the walls, all power and communication cables run vertically along these walls. If you are going to attempt to hang your TV on the wall, I would suggest that you have a professional install, check where cables are situated and that your fixings are adequate for your weight of your TV. This is your media plate. This is fairly self-explanatory. We have satellite connections, FM and DAB radio, TVs for free-to-air channels, a return point which will feed your bedroom TV and your BT or telephone provider outlet. Satellite 1 and 2 will both supply you Astra satellites which will feed Sky TV. Sky Q is fed from Sat 2, Sky HD and Sky Plus or FreeSat from Sat 1. Free-to-air channels from the TV point, so that would be all of your Freeview channels, and radio, DAB, FM from the port on the right. This is your smoke detection unit. It has a green LED status on there to say that status is clear. Any beeping noises from your detector can mean either two things: batteries need to be replaced or there is a smoke detection. To check that your smoke alarm is active and working, you push the button on the front of the detector and wait for the beeping sound. This is your heat alarm for your kitchen area. Again, green LED status to say status is okay. Again, any beeping noises either mean two things: batteries are running low or it has picked up the detection of heat. To test your unit, again, we hold down the push button, which sets off a beeping sound. To test your heat and smoke alarms, you push the push button on the top of your unit. This will then let off a loud beeping noise to let you know that your alarms are working correctly. This is your phone intercom system. Once you are called from the front entrance, your screen will light up. This will then give you video communication to the door that's being called. To release the door, we push the flashing key button. To speak to the visitor, we lift the handset, correspond, handset back down, release the door. The main functionality buttons of your video handset: lock release, mute of the phone. In the red symbol, there will be no sound coming from your video handset. Push again, reactivates call mode. On the side of your handset, we have a volume control, 3 settings: top for the loudest, middle for the middle volume, and bottom for the lowest. This is your heat recovery fan unit. At the front of the unit, we have the 2 filters. We also have a control panel. Again, this is for service use only, so you would contact your landlord for service purposes for those. What the fan unit does is it actually filters air into your apartment to keep you nice and fresh. Inside the flats, we'll show you the vents. These are your NVHR fan vents. These are drawing out damp or moisture from your rooms. Your NVH fan system has boost switches outside your wet rooms and your kitchen. To deactivate the boost, you must turn all boost switches to the off position. If you do notice your fan is overrunning and it sounds loud, it's usually because the boost is set to on. Right, we've come to the end of our video. I hope this has been helpful for you. Enjoy your new home.